and games producer. I'll go through the kind of game development process in a second, how a producer actually sort of works with them, but I'll give you an overview of the role. So you might have an external or an internal producer or both. So the producer is responsible for ensuring the successful delivery of a game on time and on budget. So they'll create all these project plans, have an idea of all of the kind of deadlines you're going to meet in the studio in order to meet the publisher's deadlines and milestones. So they'll liaise between the publishers and the game developers and manage communications between the design, art and programming teams. I find in some studios the art and programming departments hardly communicate at all. You'll just have the technical artists going backwards and forwards between the two. I mean, ideally the whole team should be working really well together. The producer's also often in charge of outsourcing and needs to track the quality of deliverables and provide feedback to the outsourcing companies. It's just with the size of projects now and the kind of work we can put into them, there's just that much more that needs to be created. So game studios, rather than taking on a load of extra people that they might then have to lose again at the end of the project because they can't afford to keep them all on, a lot of companies are now starting to use outsourcing companies, a lot in kind of India and China. Some studios here have actually set up studios out in Shanghai. But I'm finding as well what they're starting to do is now starting to use kind of smaller startups in the UK, because you find by the time we've got stuff back from China or India, and then the kind of differences in time as well, and there's often a lot of cultural differences on, cause sort of problems with the models as well. And the producer, they'll have to work between studios, kind of check in to see the quality of the stuff they've delivered, and then sending it back, providing feedback, and then getting it back then from the company. So a lot of them are starting to find it easier to use these smaller companies in the UK. In fact, a lot of the graduate startups we've got at the university are actually working on outsourcing projects for bigger studios in the UK. So the producer would look after the outsourcing, making sure they're delivering stuff on time as well, and then sort of making sure it's all integrated with the stuff that's been created in the studio. And as the game nears the launch date, producers are usually the ones that speak to the game press and hype the game at trade shows. They get to go to E3 and GDC and develop conference and everything and talk about their game. Okay, so the roles vary, requiring the ability to work well in a team and a solid knowledge of project management. I'm finding now as well some game studios are actually starting to employ producers and project managers from outside the games industry. So they're employing people that might have a strong record of project management within a different type of company, because it's all kind of the same kind of thing you need to be doing, really. So the key skills include a passion for games, ability to plan ahead, set objectives and prioritise. It's extremely important because they're the people that are making sure the game is kept on track. I'm going to mention a bit more about how these roles actually work within the kind of production cycle. Any questions so far? Okay, keep going. High levels of self-motivation and confidence, and you do need to be able to kind of motivate yourself, keep everyone motivated, and you need that level of confidence as well to to get people working, to get people meeting those deadlines, and confidence as well to kind of speak to the press about your game and to defend your game as well, because you do get some journalists that they'll kind of really niggle away at you, so they've got to have the confidence to say, no, my game's actually great. And good communication and man management skills, a keen eye for detail, and a high standard of work. So there's not any kind of specific qualifications required for that role. A lot of different qualifications will do actually, but games experience is useful, and you do find that many producers were once testers and have worked up from a testing position and have a really good knowledge of what makes a game work. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the game development process. Sorry, this is a bit dry, there's not a lot of images, but we'll click on some links towards the end and I'll show you some examples of stuff. Okay, so the actual process starts right with the design stages. So there's a design treatment created which covers kind of just unique features and audience for the kind of game you're looking to produce. So is it a children's game, an adult's game? What is going to make that kind of game unique? Why should it be made? The preliminary design, which will just kind of outline game rules, content and behaviour. So the design treatment and preliminary design are created, and then you speak within the studio and decide, is this game going to be feasible? And if everyone likes the idea, then you work on a final design, which is a rewrite of the previous document and etches the features of the game in stone. Then the project specification details how features adopted in the final design are going to be actually implemented by the artists and the programmers. And your graphic bible, which determines the look and feel of the game's characters, maps, levels, props, vehicles, etc. So the concept artists and the level designers will work on the graphic bible. But you usually find right at the start of the game, everyone has a hand in it, because the artists aren't really doing much at the early design stages. So everyone will have a go at sort of drawing pictures of what they think different things should look like, or the style of the game, and you get a lot more creative input that way. There'll be an interactive screenplay as well, created a bit further down the line, which contains all dialogues and storyline and narrative implemented into the game. So companies might have a scriptwriter working on site, or they might employ kind of an external scriptwriter. A friend of mine, Rihanna Pratchett, she's been doing. She actually worked as a games journalist, but now it's getting more and more recognised in the UK that games need to have good storylines and scripts, because there was some bad stuff on the market before that. So they are actually employing proper script writers that will have proper story arcs. So Rihanna's getting employed now she did the script for Heavenly Sword and Overlord recently, and kind of creating these really good, strong, believable characters. There's also the Mustard Corporation up in Newcastle as well. They created the kind of scripts for, Stuntman and Driver, quite a few games. So there actually is a job now in actual script writing for games. I think this is a kind of slide that's worked its way and it shouldn't have. Okay, I'm going to skip on from that one then.